In the gospel, the Lord says to us, I have other sheep that are not of this fold. I must bring them also, and they will heed my voice. So there shall be one flock, one shepherd, John 10:16. The Lord says, I have sheep everywhere, and I am shepherd of all. This all in Jesus is very important. We think of the parable of the marriage feast, when the guests would not come, one because he had bought a field, another because he got married. Each one gave his reason for not attending, and the king got angry and said, go now to the thoroughfares and invite to the marriage feast as many as you find. All, great and little, rich and poor, good and evil, all. This all is the vision of the Lord, who came for all and died for all. But did he die also for that wretch who has made my life impossible? He died also for him. And for that brigand, he died for him, for all. And also for the people that don't believe in him or are of other religions. He died for all. This doesn't mean that one must engage in proselytism. No. But he died for all. He has justified all. The rest of the paragraph isn't overly relevant. I want you to catch the terminology. Obviously, for example, the Universal Catechism of the Catholic Church emphasizes universal atonement. Because of the theology of Rome and the doctrine of the sacraments, well, what you have is provisionalism. What you have is the death of Christ provides grace that is then channeled through the sacraments. So Rome has the sacramental system, provisionalism has autonomous faith. But in both cases, the death of Christ does not actually save anyone. And so it is absolutely universal. But once you get into South American Roman Catholic theology, the impact of liberation theology really started flourishing there, in the 50s? And just really blew up in the 60s, and hence is extremely important in the education of Pope Francis before he became Pope. When you look especially at the South American context, where there is a tremendous amount of Marxism, you're seeing here what happens when politics grabs hold of a bad imbalance in a theological system and creates this situation. Now, the historic Roman Catholic position is not universalism. That's obvious, should be obvious from anyone who reads almost anything from the history of the Roman Catholic Church, from Unum Sanctum being just one of many examples of the fact that Rome has not been universalistic. I have said for quite some time that I believe that the Pope minimally it's unquestionable that the Pope is an inclusivist. But he has said many things that seem to indicate he is a universalist. Remember the young boy who came up to the Pope and asked the Pope if his father had gone to hell because his father had died and his father was an atheist. And the Pope's response, once he was told the story, was that his atheist father had gone to heaven because he had had his kids baptized. So you can be an atheist and go to heaven. The idea of believing the right things, of having a true confession of faith, can be transformed into almost anything else. And it is in liberal Catholicism, liberal Protestantism. So we have, the Protestants have their wacko leftist liberals too, just like the Catholics do. And so you get that kind of weirdness taking place. But he's emphasizing the word all. This all is the vision of the Lord who came for all and died for all. But did he also die for that wretch that has made my life impossible? He died also for him. And for that brigand, he died for him, for all. And also for the people that don't believe in him or are of other religions, he died for all. And then sort of to make it rather plain, why else insert this here? If this is just, yeah, we're talking universal atonement, but you still have to do these things, then why does he say this? This doesn't mean that one must engage in proselytism. No. Because see, that's how it's always been understood before, is that if Jesus died for all, then we need to evangelize them, announce to them from the Catholic perspective this provision that has taken place. He says, no, this doesn't mean that one must engage in proselytism. No, this Pope does not like proselytism. Could it get any plainer in light of the statement that he signed just last year with one of the Muslim leaders, that he is perfectly fine with you remaining a Muslim. You do not have to bow the knee to Christ. It's obvious. I know that theologically that can't be the case because he's the infallible vicar of Christ, right? But this doesn't mean that one must engage in proselytism. No, but he died for all. And then he has justified all. Now, that's not what Trent taught. That's not what Vatican II taught. That sure ain't what the other living Pope taught. That is not the dogmatic formulation of the church. Now, I know. The response is this is not an infallible teaching of the Pope, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I just keep coming back. Look, how many years has this got to go on before we realize that this man only knows one chord on the guitar? He can only play one chord. And so it's useless to try to deny that that's the one chord he's playing. Well, I don't know. It sounds like a B flat to me. No, it's a C. That's all he knows. And how many times does he have to make it plain and clear? I don't know. But there you go. He has justified all. If that seems to get, if this was all alone, okay, maybe. But it's not all alone. It is a body of statements that lead to the inevitable conclusion that this man is a universalist. And that is not historic Roman Catholic teaching. Whatever you do with that. And, of course, he is the one that then makes people cardinals and assigns them to pontifical biblical commission places and seats and authority and everything else. And yeah, there you go. It's a challenge. No two ways about it. It's a challenge.